Tonight at 10, the true state of the British mortgage market. As new mortgage approvals fall by almost half in the last year, the BBC can reveal that the number of mortgage lenders offering competitive rates has plummeted.
And later on...
Everything you have is stolen. Apart from me.
I'm the best safecracker this country has ever produced. I am William Shakespeare, Bobby Moore and the Beatles. And once, blood ran through my veins.
Now come on, let's do it!
The best in the business are out of retirement.
We're gonna do this job or what? That's more like it.
I'll kill you!
The Morris side, no.
Catch 'em if you can. The Invisibles, new drama, Thursday at 9 on BBC One.
This is BBC One in the East. And now the BBC News with Fiona Bruce and Amelia Reynolds at 10 o'clock.
Tonight at 10, the true extent of the troubled British mortgage market. New mortgage approvals have fallen by almost a half in the last year. The BBC can reveal that the number of mortgage lenders offering competitive rates has also dropped by 2/3. We'll examine how the mortgage squeeze will impact on the housing market. Also tonight, in Austria, new details emerge about the man who kept his daughter hidden in a cellar for nearly a quarter of a century. Why business is worried that many of the Poles who came to Britain in the last 3 years will soon have gone home. Just one day of campaigning left as the mayoral hopefuls for the London mayor drum up last-minute support. And an historic win by Manchester United sets up the first ever all-English Champions League final.
Here in the East tonight, the elusive bomb finally goes bang. We'll bring you more in half an hour.
Good evening. New figures today show just how serious the slowdown in the property market has become. Mortgage approvals in March were nearly half what they were the year before. That's a record low. And the BBC has learned that the number of lenders actively seeking to offer mortgages with competitive rates has dropped by 2/3. It's a further indication of the squeeze on homeowners and those still trying to get a foot on the property ladder. Our business editor, Robert Peston, reports.
Was it really just 9 months ago that the housing market was soaring and there were more mortgages on offer than we could use? Not anymore. House prices are falling, there are far fewer lenders offering competitive deals, and, according to the latest Bank of England figures, the number of mortgage approvals in March was 44% lower than a year ago, back to a level not seen since the gloom of the early 1990s. This is the story on every British high street. Last year, every bank was throwing money at us to buy property. Deal after deal was put in the shop window. But if you walk down the same high streets today, the message couldn't be more different. They don't want to lend to us, they want us to lend to them. The mortgage adverts have gone to be replaced by claims of great savings rates for those who'll deposit precious cash. The number of serious lenders has shrunk in a remarkable way. There were more than 100 providers of mortgages a year ago. Now, an estimated 30 are offering competitive mortgage deals, but according to mortgage analysts, the 7 biggest lenders dominate. And the home loans market has become even more concentrated for a leading mortgage broker.
So far this year, 2/3 of our mortgage business has gone to 5 lending groups. Now that compares with the same time last year with about 56% going to the top 5 groups. And the reason for that is that out of the 100 plus lenders we used last year, a significant number have actually just stopped lending.
The bank's shortage of funds to lend won't be massively or magically cured by the Bank of England's new scheme to allow banks to in effect swap their mortgages for cash, or so says the governor.
This is not designed to so-called kickstart the mortgage market, and indeed I think it will be a serious mistake to go back to where the mortgage market was a year ago.
One sign of more sober times in the housing market was today's collapse into administration of an investment business, Inside Track, that rode the buy-to-let boom. But those who think falling house prices are a bad thing, and not everyone does, should be grateful they don't live in America. In Las Vegas, house prices are a staggering 23% down on a year ago, according to figures released today. The days when buying a house was a sure bet, well, they seem to be over, at least for a while.
Well, Robert Peston is here with me now. Robert, do you think the number of competitive mortgage lenders is going to shrink still further?
Well, we have seen the most extraordinary contraction, Fiona. I mean, the market is now dominated by a handful of the big banks, and the number of mortgage products on offer, well, they've fallen on most estimates by something like 80%. Now, I think that's probably about as bad as it can get. But on the other hand, you shouldn't expect a return to the kind of boom condition, you know, the times of cheap, plentiful mortgages. I mean, if they do return, we are months, possibly years away from that. Now, look at what our leading mortgage lender, HBOS, owner of the Halifax, said today when raising £4 billion from shareholders. It said it expected the profitability of lending mortgages to rise quite significantly over the next couple of years. Good news, of course, for its shareholders. I'm afraid that probably means for customers that, as I say, the price of mortgages isn't coming down. Not quite so good news for people if they want to buy a house.
Okay, Robert, thank you. The Austrian woman held captive in a cellar with her 3 children has had an emotional reunion with her other children and her mother. She hadn't seen them for nearly...
The long-awaited inquest verdict on the deaths of Princess Diana and Dodi Fayed. We'll have all the details, and we'll speak exclusively to some of those closest to Mohammed Al Fayed. Join us at 10.
First and second series of New Tricks are now available on BBC DVD.
Is everything okay?
Everything's fine.
Anything to do with the boy that he might be looking for?
I don't know what you mean.
Well, he's put himself in a position where he's feeding off his anger and his grief.
Can't do this!
Find out where they're keeping him.
Just when I thought I could not be stopped, when I've broken every door, the ghost of my life flew wilder than the wind.
Waking the Dead returns. Next Monday at 9 on BBC One.
You're pretty boring. What would you do?
On the line.
It's like we...
This is BBC One in the East. Now the news at 10 o'clock with Hugh Edwards and Andrew Sinclair.
Unlawfully killed, the long-awaited inquest verdicts on Diana and Dodi. A decade after the fatal crash in Paris, the reckless actions of others are blamed for the deaths. The pack of press photographers who pursued her car are accused of gross negligence, as is the man who drove Diana's car, Henri Paul, who'd been drinking on the night. Dodi's father, Mohammed Al Fayed, let it be known that he was disappointed with the outcome.
The verdict will come as a blow to the many millions of people around the world who supported my struggle, and I thank them.
We speak exclusively to some of those who've been closest to Mr. Al Fayed about the conspiracy theories.
The people around him fed what many of us viewed as a fantasy. And I think that is deplorable.
And this evening, Princes William and Harry say they agree with today's verdict. Also tonight, no return to the 10p tax band, despite claims that poor households are the hardest hit. The mother of Shannon Matthews is arrested by police investigating her daughter's disappearance. And another disastrous day for the Olympic torch. This time, the human rights protests are in Paris.
Here in the east, the shopkeeper who fought back against a robber with a bottle of wine. And the driver threatened with a parking ticket just because he stopped to put his rubbish in the bin.
Good evening. Princess Diana and Dodi Fayed were unlawfully killed through the reckless actions of their driver and of the paparazzi who'd been chasing their car. The inquest jury returned its verdicts today after listening to evidence for the past 6 months. Mohammed Al Fayed, who insists the couple were murdered, said he was disappointed by the outcome. Our royal correspondent Nicholas Witchell has followed the entire hearing, and he's at Buckingham Palace tonight.
So, after this exhaustive inquiry, these very important verdicts. The jury has rejected any idea that the crash was caused by a conspiracy, but they found that the crash wasn't simply a straightforward accident. They found that the crash was caused by recklessness and gross negligence. The verdicts mean that Henri Paul and the paparazzi tonight stand accused, in effect, of the manslaughter of Dodi Fayed and of Diana, Princess of Wales.
She was the fairy tale princess who, in life, was the focus of international fascination, and who, after her tragic death, became the centre of worldwide speculation about an alleged murder conspiracy. Now, finally, after more than a decade, there is the chance to draw a definitive line. Mohammed Al Fayed, the man who has spent millions of pounds pursuing the conspiracy claims, came to court today to hear the conclusion to 6 months of evidence from 250 witnesses. Shortly before 4:30, the jury forewoman got to her feet to deliver the verdicts. Among the many who were listening were Mr. Al Fayed and Diana's elder sister, Lady Sarah McCorquodale. The verdicts, by a majority of 9-2, the forewoman said, were of unlawful killing. The crash had been caused by the speed and driving of the Mercedes, the speed and driving of the following vehicles of the paparazzi, and the impairment of Henri Paul, the driver of the Mercedes. In other words, the jury was satisfied that Henri Paul was guilty of gross negligence in taking the wheel when he knew he'd been drinking, and of recklessness in driving at such excessive speed. And then there's the paparazzi, the men who pursued the Mercedes and who photographed the dying, but who refused to come to the inquest to testify. The jury found that they too had been grossly negligent and reckless. In a statement tonight, Princes William and Harry thanked the jury. They said, "We agree with their verdicts and are both hugely grateful to each and every one of them." In conclusion, the princes said, "The two of us would like to express our most profound gratitude to all those who fought so desperately to save our mother's life on that tragic night." Outside the court, the former Commissioner of the Metropolitan Police, Lord Stevens, who headed the British investigation into the crash, gave his reaction.
I just hope that this can bring closure to what has been a traumatic event for a lot of people. Mr. Al Fayed has said that he will accept the verdict of the jury. The verdict has been clear. They have said they are absolutely sure that there is no conspiracy in relation to this matter.
But almost immediately it was apparent that Mohammed Al Fayed had no intention of accepting the verdicts. His spokeswoman talked again of murder.
I'm not the only person who says they were murdered. Diana predicted that she would be murdered and how it would happen. So I am disappointed. The verdicts will come as a blow to the many millions of people around the world who supported my struggle, and I thank them.
For Mohammed Al Fayed, the verdicts are a humiliation. For Diana's brother, Earl Spencer, they're a vindication of what he said in the hours after